Just a quick thanks for the 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Since this guide seems to be getting quite long, I won't overstay my welcome, but a 1k special will be coming soon. Also, make sure to join the Discord. The link will be in the top line of the description and in the comments. This is just so I can set up VOD reviews and you guys can get to know me a bit better. I've also set up a Patreon. The link should be in the top right. This will grant you exclusive Discord roles, priority in my VOD reviews, and much more. Lastly, I need to wait roughly a week for the community tab to appear on my channel after I hit 1k, so be on the lookout for that poll between my voice and a TTS bot. Without further ado, here's the guide.
Genji's primary fire, the Sharpy Bois, makes him fire 3 strikes in just under a second, dealing 28 damage per shuriken, with 30 in one clip. He can also throw these shurikens at once in a wider spread, with a 0.75 second recovery time between each burst. Also keep in mind that these shurikens are some of the slowest moving projectiles, moving at 60 meters per second. As usual, I'll be starting off with tech. Keep in mind that some of these will be combos that include other abilities down the line. Firstly, you can cancel part of your reload animation with any of your abilities, similar to cancelling half a second off Hog's reload animation with his breather. Secondly, you can cancel the recovery time by wall climbing immediately after you fire a fan of shurikens. Thirdly, you can cancel the recovery time of either firing mode of your shurikens by using either of your abilities, or even your melee as well. I'll get into more complex combos as I'll cover the rest of Genji's kit. In terms of basic usage, you obviously want to use your alternate fire fans in close range as you will hit all 3 shurikens immediately instead of in succession, which also has the side effect of making them harder to dodge for the enemy, hence they are easier to aim. Also keep in mind that whenever you double jump, you have to aim slightly downwards to keep your crosshair in the same place. On occasion against large hitboxes, you can abuse this feature to allow your double jump to act as pseudo recoil to drag your crosshair upwards, aiming it at the head by just passively double jumping. Other than that, shurikens are mainly used to farm blade by having your main target priority being tanks. If you are familiar with Lucio's weapon or Ana's sleep dart, landing your primary fire will be much easier due to similar projectile speeds and firing style respectively. Genji's first ability, the Speedy Boi, makes Genji dash 15 meters, dealing 50 damage to anybody he dashes through, moving at 50 meters per second, alongside an 8-second cooldown which will reset upon getting a kill or an assist, which is very important for chaining kills with his ultimate. With tech, you can perform a ghost dash by immediately dashing after you receive the dash reset. Whilst this is more flashy than practical, with a mouse and keyboard, you can flick immediately to your next target whilst in blade, or perform an immediate escape from an ultimate such as Flux just after finishing an opponent with dash. Secondly, you can fire out any firing mode of shurikens after you dash. This combo, after the nerf, deals 248 damage in combination with melee, hence it is most useful against diving supports at a medium distance with decently sized hitboxes, and similar with the ghost dash, you flick these immediate fan of shurikens the frame after you exit your dash animation. Lastly, you can cancel deflect with dash instead of doing it manually, then dashing after. This is most useful for deflecting whilst you are in blade to prevent utility, such as Ana's sleep dart, from hitting you whilst also immediately dealing damage afterwards. The most basic use is to dash when you are going to confirm a kill, or it is likely that the enemy you are diving will die soon after you dash, which serves the purpose of getting a free escape after a dive. Dash can also be used for mobility, to cover the map, to get to enemies closer to land your own damage easier, and to escape tight situations as mentioned prior. However, digging deeper and looking at the macro perspective, you need to time your dash for when your team is engaging, as Spilo criticizes Super's mistimed dash here.
Why? You're instantly going to be turned around and focused. Look at this. Look. And now look at Super. Do you not see the problem with this? If he goes in with his monkey, not only would he be safer, but he'd be doing more damage. So it's not just always playing more aggressively, he's playing more stupidly. And meanwhile, Smurf is actually doing stuff, and where's my Genji? Genji's out of the fight, right? This is why I talk about sync your aggression with your team, specifically your tanks.
In contrast to this, here's Super doing a well-timed dash and dive with his teammates.
Okay, so this is it. This is not hard, okay? Now, not every dive is going to be hardcore super early like this, but like this is why, look at the timing here. Ball slam, Winston land, bubble, super dash.
This can also lead to low-value, high-risk dashes, as Spilo further elaborates here.
Look at Super. He's dashed out, Smurf is in, Striker's in. And not only that, but he very well could have died. So not only is his value lower, his risk was higher. That's a bad trade, my friend. You could be on your angle, dropping, and then dashing through if you want to. That gets kills, that's safer, that's more likely to build dual charge.
You also need to dash to the closest wall to utilize your passive if you aren't going to confirm a kill with it.
You're basically saying when you dash in, if you don't have a guarantee of a kill, you need to have a wall to climb out.
Yeah, you have to position yourself immediately for the wall. He's double jumping above the Reinhardt to get headshots, but he's also not positioning himself closer to this wall. He's still standing right here in the middle. So if you would take damage, get focused, because it's super easy to focus a Genji or anyone that's in the middle of your team. So it's essentially a 1v6. Then he can't escape unless he uses deflect, but he has already used deflect. So now he's screwed.
Genji's second ability, the Uno reverse card, makes him reflect any damage, aside from beams, in front of him lasting 2 seconds, alongside with a cooldown of 8 seconds. Similar to Uno Sleep or Orisa's Fortify, Deflect is best used defensively to act as a personal shield of yours, which also happens to deal damage if the enemy shoot you. Reflecting fire strikes or Moira orbs shouldn't be your priority due to how little value you could be getting compared to firing shurikens behind tanks on high ground, for instance. This also applies to those trying to be too flashy and deflect the opposing's area grav. Instead, Deflect should be used as a get out of jail free card if you have dash on cooldown, or if you're in the middle of Blade and you need to deflect enemy utility such as Ina's Sleep Dart in order to stay alive. Deflect should also be used to win duels more easily, especially if you miss your shurikens, or if you need to reload. Genji's passive, Mirror's Edge, gives Genji the ability to wall climb and double jump. In general gameplay, there isn't much to this other than to double jump almost constantly to make your hitbox and movement less predictable. However, don't do this out in the open whilst in line of sight of a sniper. A small but effective tip is to corner peek at the apex of your double jump to avoid projectiles such as En's alternate fire, Soldier's helix, and potentially even Orisa's new halt. You can also save your double jump when using Dragon Blade in the air to make your movement more unpredictable.
You should save one jump so you can like dash and then jump in the sky. It makes even great Annas like MO7 like Mr. Sleep because it's just unpredictable. Like you don't know if Genji's gonna fall in a straight line or if he's gonna jump.
Genji's ultimate, Infinity Blade, makes Genji unleash his katana for 6 seconds, dealing 120 damage per slash at a 5 meter maximum range. Just to get this out the way, too many Genjis ask for nano boost or rely on it too heavily. Keep in mind that even though nano boost is very effective at securing kills and getting the dash reset off faster to avoid ultimates such as Sigma's Flux, it can still win team fights if used correctly.
Barricade, get the gauge, re-engage, now I leave a gauge size hole.
Firstly, your blade can cleave multiple enemies at once. Secondly, you can cancel the recovery time from each of your slashes by dashing immediately after. Thirdly, try not to blade on the ground, as Spilo further explains here.
He's blading on the floor too, which is always risky. Easier to hit shots, easier for Winston to cleave you, easier most importantly to get bashed, all that good stuff.
Lastly, here's a workshop code that somebody from ATP's Discord sent me. It's used for practicing your blades and you have the option to turn on the Transcendence Healing and Ina's Nano Boost. Moving on to usage. Similar with Orisa's shield, you need to time it when your tanks engage.
Blade equals engage equals good. So in other words, when either side engages, a blade is good. Level 2 is what you said. Why is it good? Because cooldown equals used. So there's less cooldowns to devote to you. So the question is, Send, why? Why are cooldowns used? We have to keep going. You need to understand the concept all the way through, so you understand the exceptions to the rule. Attention drawn elsewhere. So they're not just all looking at you. The cooldowns were used because they're looking at somebody else. And if they're looking at somebody else, they're not looking at you. And if they're not looking at you, then you kill people. That's how it works.
Again, here's Spilo explaining this concept but at an Overwatch League level using Super as an example.
The problem here is the location with which he's choosing to blade is not a fully committed rotation. So rotation is basically, I want to go from point A to point B. But if you blade here, Myungbong very easily can press the
I'm about to head out
button, right? All the way up and, bash and whip shot and Discord and spam and all that stuff. And it's easy for Boston's tanks to just peel back and kill this off. Where is there going to be the follow-up to this blade? Yes, Smurf is going in, but you're not going to get Discord. You're not going to get armor pack. Your Tracer's not even in position right now. This is not well timed. This is too soon. If you let them come in here first, let them just as they come in here and then you go, then you're going to be all set.
Additionally, Here are a few reasons and an example to show why you want to blade from an off angle.
Splits attention, yeah, number one. Make him turn around, sure. They have to turn around to get you, yeah. You're not under pressure, invisible when you start, exactly. It's confusion and fear. They're not expecting you. It throws them off. It scares them. And obviously, your entry is safe too, because everybody's seen the meme of Genji's getting rocked and swung and booped and flashbanged and all that jazz, right? But look at Super's blade entry here. No damage. No damage. No damage. No damage. Bang.
Lastly, as a general rule of thumb, blade timing isn't only specific to dive comps, but can also apply to all of the roster.
If you're a Genji player and you're watching this and you're going, why did my blades I never get anything on my blades? I don't care if you're playing with Orisa, or Reinhardt, or Wrecking Ball, or double off tank with a flanking Hog Zarya. Are your tanks doing anything? If not, don't blade. Now, I don't mean my Hog isn't walking forward with me. If your Hog is on a flank here and they're looking at your Hog, that's when you blade. If your ball just rolled through them, that's when you blade. If your Reinhardt is walking forward swinging, that's when you blade. When your Orisa shields start spamming, throws out a halt, that's when you blade. Because yes, there's not bodies on you, which isn't optimal. You want bodies like hulks of meat that can protect you. But it means that there's attention being drawn elsewhere so you can get away with your blade. Even Nano Blade, you want to make sure that your team is doing something. Do you have Harmony Orb? Is your Tracer in position? Did your Widow grapple up the high ground? Like imagine this, you Nano Blade through this choke right when your Widow grapples the high ground. Who does the team look at? The Widow literally standing out in the open or the Nano Blade in the back line? You create a dilemma to where maybe even if they hard counter your blade and you die, you win the fight because they're all focused on you and your team is just like la 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 la, killing everybody.
On to the final section of the guide, positioning and playstyle. Firstly, in coordinated scrims, unless you have a Sombra, it is your job as Genji to scout for rotations in order to stage a dive, and not let the enemy team make a rotation to point for free. This is actually how Boston Uprising manages to get their brawl comp to cap first point against the San Francisco Shock.
This rotation, they took a lot of damage. This rotation, they took no damage, and it was because Super was not scouting. Super needs to be scouting. You need your Genji to scout. He's mobile. He's small hitbox. He doesn't get his cooldowns for us.
Secondly, you want to utilize your double jump in order to simultaneously farm blade faster whilst doing more in the mid fight.
So never stand on asphalt, which means you will be standing here, you will be standing here, maybe indoors, up here. Just don't stand on the road in the middle of the street as Genji, because there's literally nothing you can do that any other hero can do better.
It feels like he's playing really, really conservative just to farm Nano Blade, but the ironic thing is that he's building Nano Blade slower because of his positioning, and he's not doing anything until he gets Blade. You don't have to go crazy in the backline duels. Like, there's this myth that there's blade farming Genji and dueling Genji. And, like, that's true to an extent, but that doesn't mean that, like, oh, I'm a blade farming Genji. Well, if you want to farm blade and still do something, play off angles. You'll farm blade faster, and even if you don't go in crazy in the backline for picks, like you were saying, you'll turn attention your way, you'll get the Rhino shield your way, they'll have to chase you out, and you waste their time.
Thirdly, building on this concept further, you want to differentiate between high grounds, and be as close to the enemy team as possible to farm blade, but far away enough to still be in safety.
Is there really any reason for Super to be on this high ground and not here? It's easier to land shurikens here, and you have more cover, and you can play around like climbing up, throw shurikens, climb up. You can make your hitbox more difficult to poke. Easier for you to spam, harder for them to poke. It's like the best of both worlds. And once the team gets to get here, he wants to be spamming for blade anyway.
Fourthly, here is a minor example with Super positioning himself well on Route 66.
Let's look at Super's positioning. You guys see it? What does he got, Genji mains? What does he got? On the angle, right? What are they going to do? Do they either have to stop and force out Super, or they take damage to the butt cheeks? And he has dash, he has deflect, he's got available escapes. This is great.
As a final nugget of information, here's Jayne explaining how to escape Diamond by coordinating with one teammate.
Here's like the 9 billion IQ to get out of Diamond. In Diamond, you pick one person on your team. It's either going to be the carry or the person who you think needs the help. And instead of trying to invent some new goal for you to accomplish, help the person on your team accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. You don't even have to talk about it. Like, have you looked at your Winston once? Just chill with Winston, poke, and when your Winston attempts to feed, conveniently assist him in killing him, whatever was going to accomplish his goal of feeding like a moron. Like, if he gets hooked, reflect. Suddenly the Roadhog's also dead. Just pick one. You don't even have to play a 6, just pick one.
Well, that's it for the guide. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. If this video also helped to raise your IQ, be sure to share it with your friends to also raise theirs. Don't forget to join the Discord for free coaching, and until next time.
You, big boy without big broom. Big boy, how I come through. Big boy without brand new, 'cause